Tired of feeling stuck, unseen, or like your body isn't yours anymore? It's time for a reset. Welcome to An Ageless Life, the midlife reset show, where science, movement, and mindset help you feel strong, energized, and like yourself. I'm Devi, a clinical pharmacist, Argentine tango dancer and instructor, and your guide for redefining how women thrive and grow in midlife and beyond. Let's get started. So I'm so happy today to have Jackie Wheeler join us for this podcast. And I have to admit, my philosophy for life is every time you dress is a costuming opportunity. So I'm so glad to have somebody on who's going to want to talk about image and clothing and all of this kinds of juicy fun stuff. So let's get started right away. So tell me, how did you get into this?
So my poor mother birthed a diva child, and at 3, I started telling her you shouldn't wear that, and wanted to dress her. And then in junior high and high school, I was dressing and shopping for my girlfriends, and then I met this really amazing woman through. I think I called her through an ad or a magazine or something, and I said, "Hey, I think I want to do what you do. Would you be willing to talk to me?" And she was willing. So she had coffee with me and she told me all about image consulting. And I was like, those are all the words and all the things that I have had in my head that I always have wanted to do, but didn't have a name for it.
Right.
So then that just started my path. And I went to school for fashion, and then here I am.
Awesome. So is there, and fashion is, and image and all of those kinds are of things are so unique. Um, how do you help somebody uncover that piece? Because I know in different points of my life, I thought, okay, I'm this. So, there for a while, I've been an Argentine tango dancer for like 20 years. And so
Oh,
when I
I
first
love
started, it
Argentine
was like,
tango.
okay, we have to have the dramatic hair and the dramatic look and the clothes and the dressing all in black. And kind of over time, that kind of shifted a little bit. And I'm like, we might want to soften that up a little bit and not. But anyway, so tell me, how does this work?
Yeah. So I will say, to that effect, I think every woman has a journey in their image. They have an image journey. And so I think depending upon where you're at, and if you're in a place of rediscovery, then that's a place where often a client will start with me. Or in a place of, I don't know, so let's get started. And so I have 4 pillars of style that I kind of talk about, and it's color, but what are your best colors? What makes you feel good? Um, your body type, what styles look good on you, your fashion personality. Do you like ruffles and bows or not? And I also talk about, like, what words do you want to represent yourself with the messaging of your nonverbal communication through your clothing. And we look at all those things. Um, and and to different people, different ones of those are the most important. And we just dive into where they're feeling they need the most help.
So let's back up a little bit. And I want to go
Yes.
back and explore number 3 because I don't think
Yeah.
I've really heard number 3. I've heard the
Okay.
thing about colors, and I've heard, you want ruffles, you don't want ruffles, you want big flowers, you want, or neutrals, beige, whatever. But the third one that you talk about. So if you could repeat that and maybe dive in a little bit more on that one.
Okay. So, but are you wanting body type, or are you wanting fashion personality?
Fashion personality.
Fashion personality. Okay. So, fashion personality is the place where you feel the styles that feel the best on you. I actually talk about 5 fashion personalities. Different companies talk about different things, but I have 5. And the first one I like to talk about is like the classic, timeless, elegant, balance, sophistication, that old, kind of like that old school wealth kind of a feel. And then dramatic is that woman who wants to all heads to turn when she walks into the room. She's very trendy, very on trend. And it doesn't matter if her ears pinch and her toes hurt, she looks good, darn it. And then our casual chic, she's the I want to wear jeans and t-shirts or shorts and t-shirts and super comfort. Comfort is her main concern. And very little makeup, very little accessories. Are romantic. She loves florals and bows and ruffles and pearls and very things that are very sentimental. And usually like a softer, more feminine makeup. And that my fifth one is my eclectic. She's the gal that can walk in and out of all the different ones, just dependent upon what her situation and what her mood is. So
Yeah, I
that's
think
kind of
that's
that
more
fashion
mine.
personality. Yeah, me too. That's me too.
But means your closet is huge, but
Yeah, yes, it
it's
does.
fun.
Yes, it is. But and most people have a primary. So previously I used to be a classic dramatic. So I would be very classic with my pieces. Um, but then I would have like, well, I guess it's still kind of, yeah. So and then I would have some flair and do some different things to really make my classic pieces like pop. So
Yeah.
most people will have a primary and a secondary, but and I usually say, you know what your fashion personality is based upon what would you wear if Oprah invited you to be interviewed on her show. That tells you exactly if you know what outfit you would wear, it'll tell you what your personality is.
Oh, that's great because I've taken those tests before and they go, which one are you to? And I'm like, well, I think just from the way that what I have, I'm probably classic elegant, but then I like to throw in a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So the fact that you've got the eclectic that can do all of those, but yeah, that's a really good test. What would you wear if you were going to meet Oprah? Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
Um, s- do and so how does this process work? So do they take a test? Do they talk to you? How do people figure out where they fall into these? And, because I know women that are like, I just want to be comfortable all the time. But then again, is that a chic comfortable? Is that, there's a whole discussion, right, about you don't wear
Right.
sweats to fly on an airplane or, all of that kind of stuff. So how does this all work?
The whole process, or with me, it's a lot of time together, a lot of conversation, a lot of let's walk through it. What does classic mean to you, or what does romantic mean to you? Who do you visualize when you see those? I have my visuals. Who do you visualize? And that really helps hone down on what um, for some people maybe romantic is like fully frilled up, and others are just like, well, I like the little collars and the little ruffs on the sides, the edges of sleeves, or I like to wear a pearl all the time. And maybe that's their touch of romantic. So it's a lot of conversation. And because I can throw a test together and have you take a test, but in the end, it doesn't get to the juicy parts of who you are and what your visualize. Everybody has this different idea when it comes to fashion and image, and it's creative and fun. So I have a hard time like putting it like, let's just give you a piece of paper to try to figure this out. I
Yeah.
love just that walking through it and having those conversations of what that feels like to you.
Well, then I want to take a second and just go back to something that you said. And it was along the lines of make it juicy for you, right? And can you talk a little bit about how people show up different, women show up differently if they're in something that's juicy for them versus something that's not? Because I
Oh,
think that's
yes.
an important distinction.
Hmm. So if you'll just imagine like a time that you just I need to run to the store and I'm just going to throw something on and I'm just going to go because it doesn't matter what I'm wearing. I'm just going to throw it on because I just need to go to the store, grab something. Um, versus that moment that you absolutely pick out everything that is perfectly you and you get to walk into the room and everyone is like oohing and eyeing, and you can feel that confidence just oozing off of you. That's the difference. I'm just going to throw this on. It doesn't matter. I don't care who I'm seeing. Hopefully nobody sees me, whatever. This I'm wearing and I feel amazing in it, and it oozes off of you, right? Your confidence just comes right on out because you know, one, you look good and you feel amazing in it.
And so that is totally independent. I mean, it can be any one of the styles, right? It's just more
Uh-huh.
about how you feel.
Yeah, more about how you're feeling in your own skin and the beautiful things that you've placed on yourself. Yep.
Gotcha. And so one of the questions that I'm sure people have is, or women have is does this require a huge investment? And is this going to take a lot of time for me to build what it is that I need?
Well, it really depends on where you're starting, right? And are you the timing? It really depends on, we can do something short. You can do it really quick. Here's the pieces that you need. Boom, 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 and done. Um, if it's a longer, there could be a longer process in that of, I thought this was what I wanted, but I'm realizing now that I need something different.
Uh,
But it's a lot, again, a lot of conversation. Investment, it's up to you. Other than like me, I suppose I'm a specific hard thing, but investment as far as like your, how much you're going to invest into your wardrobe. Well, I always say invest the most that the have your budget the highest it can be for what you can for right now. And if that means that you need to do resale or you need to do that first, do it. If you want to, if you have the budget to be able to do designer, then do it. It's not required for you to have an amazing, beautiful wardrobe. It's not, that whatever that budget is not, we can find amazing, beautiful things for you, regardless of what your budget is. So if your budget is, 500 or 5,000 or 10,000, whatever, I know that I can find you amazing pieces, whatever that budget is,
and
to help you look great.
I think the fact that you're talking about resale, because that is kind of a way for you to maybe do something a little bit risky, but
Yes,
not feel like you're going to be spending a ton of money on it. So it's like, oh, well, maybe I'll play with this and see how I
exactly.
feel with it. It
Yes,
might be me, it might not be me, but
yes.
who knows?
Yeah, I agree 100%. The other thing I like to do is, let's say that there's a really fun trend that's happening right now, and you're like, "Oh, I want to try that, but I don't want to invest in it."
Yeah.
Well, find, there's so many places that are, that will have, if it's a color trend, well, okay, go find a t-shirt or a pair of shorts that are in that color trend and play with it. And if you're like, oh, maybe it's Target, and that you find like this t-shirt and you just play with it. And if you hate it, you just bought it from Target. It's not a huge
No big
investment.
deal.
No big deal. If you'll love it and you want something that's a little more um, quality piece, then go and expend a little bit more on a designer or a better quality piece that you want to have. I have purple as one of it's my signature color. It is not in all the time. So when it's in,
You
I
buy
go
a
find
lot.
it. I buy a lot. But that's also where resale maybe comes in too. Like if you have a favorite color that's not in all the time, then that's where you can find those colors that other people are like. Well, I'm done with that, and I'll put that away. And I can find purple all year long.
So just so in case those of you who are listening and not watching, she has purple glasses and purple hair and it looks like a purple blouse and a necklace with purple on it too. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking purple's her color, but I think there's a little purple vase in the background too. So
Yep, yep, all kinds of things.
yeah. So, and I think one of the things that I like about what you're talking about is that you can make this play. That's number one. And number two is that it's not based upon what other people tell you you should do. This is based upon,
100%.
and I think as women who are going through midlife, we're starting to really question the things that we've been told forever. What is your life supposed to be like? How are you supposed to feel? Are you, you know, most of us don't want to be invisible. One way that we can
Mhm.
control that is by how we look, our appearance. And we absolutely send a message by the way that we look. So I think this is really interesting what you do. It sounds like a lot of fun too.
It is. Yes, it's a lot of fun. I will say, I was blessed to learn very early in my career um, from a woman who was in her midlife some life lessons slash um, style information. I was in my 20s and I was gathering up all the information I could, just eating up fashion and tips and this, that, and the other. And I was a beautiful mentor of mine who is 20 years my senior. And I had learned something new and I was like, oh, I learned this thing. And I wanted mostly it was just to share with her. It wasn't a judgment.
Okay.
It wasn't a you should do this, but I had learned that there was this thing that said women over a certain age shouldn't have hair that's a certain, length, right? Certain length and a certain, it shouldn't be curly and it shouldn't be a certain length. You should have short hair if you're over a certain age. And she looked at me and she's like, I'm so glad that she was so positive in the way that she said this to me. So I'm so glad that you are continuing your education, that you are taking in all the information that you can have. But I will tell you that a women of certain age are going to wear whatever we want. And so I want you to learn that right now that um, I do not recommend that you go to women of certain age and quote unquote and tell them that they should do X, Y, or Z. And I was like, oh, okay. And I learned that early. So I implement that inside of my business from the time in my 20s when I started my business to now when I'm definitely not in my 20s and have just I have all these tools, all these things that I have come to give you to you can use. And if I tell you your best colors are blue, purple, and pink, and you're like, I hate all those colors, then I say, okay, you hate all those colors. How are we going to make the colors that you love work? And I'm just giving you the tools and telling you where my expertise is. But I want to support you where you're at in this moment and this time. And that's my biggest thing. Especially when you're, especially in midlife, like we need to show up and show out for sure.
Absolutely. Because after all, if we're going to change the world, that's what we need. We need
That's
to
right.
show up and shout it out. So,
That's
yeah.
right.
We've got just a couple minutes left. And so I'm wondering if there's any last minute something that you want to add or talk about.
Well, if I just a quick tip for you, while you're shopping, when you're picking out pieces, make sure your pieces are going through with three other things in your closet. This way you get your most bang for your buck and you're making sure that everything is mixing and matching within. So just like a quick tip for that. And if you want more quick tips, then follow me on Insta and that would be amazing.
And all of her information will be in the show notes, so you'll be able to access those very easily. But I really like that tip because there's nothing worse than buying something that you're super excited about and taking it home and then having absolutely nothing to wear with it, so you can't wear it.
Yep.
That's great. So, well, thank you so much. It's been wonderful to have you on. Great information as far as that's concerned. And thanks for listening in. Bye bye.
That's it for this reset. Thank you for spending this time with me. If today's episode gave you something to think about, I'd love to have you subscribe so you never miss what's next. And remember to grab your free gift, your midlife superpower, 5 simple power moves to feel like yourself again. The address for this is, or link is, anagelesslife.com/superpower. Thanks again. Bye-bye.